Standing By, the Terry and Ted podcast, is sponsored by Jaguar Land Rover Laval. Get out of the big city and experience a construction zone-free test drive. There is such a thing.
Hey! It is episode 9.
That's right.
Number 9.
Do I have to tell you the Roman numeral? Do you know the Roman numeral?
The Roman numeral is IX.
Very well done, sir.
Grazie.
Yeah. Do you know your Roman numerals, Poseidon?
No, I'm terrible.
Do you
I just
know?
know X means 10.
Yeah.
The I means 1.
Yeah, that's not bad.
2 I's is 2.
There you go. Yeah. How about the Greek alphabet? Do you know the Greek alphabet?
Oh, I forgot it, man.
Oh, really, eh? But did you learn it in school when you were a kid?
I did learn it, and you know what's fucked up is I just realized I forgot it. Because the thing is, you could put me on the spot for the English alphabet, and I'll say it, no problem. But then as soon as you said, you know your Greek alphabet, I'm like, motherfucker, I forgot it. Fuck.
You know what's really funny?
What?
And I can't do it, so I shouldn't even bring it up, but I've done it before on the radio, and it's funny. You take the Greek alphabet, and then you recite it the way you do A, B, C, D, E, X, A to Rho, Kiba. I'll have to look it up and find it, and then it might actually be funny.
Let me bring it up.
Are you going to bring it up? Oh, cripes. Now, what have we done?
well,
what have we done?
You have unleashed the hounds.
Aha.
This is going to be a burping episode, too, by the way.
I'm Terry DeMonte. This is Ted Bird, and I was referring to episode 9 of the Standing By Terry and Ted podcast, brought to you lovingly. Well, I shouldn't speak on their behalf, but I actually do speak on their behalf. Lovingly promoted and brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover Laval.
Our title sponsors,
Yes.
A family-owned and run business, and we love family-owned and run businesses, don't we?
All our sponsors are family-run businesses.
And we've got 4 of them. We need one more, and then we'll have the 5 families.
Yes,
Yeah.
they could have a meeting in New York.
That's right.
Right.
Nino and Renato Di Cubelis run Jaguar Land Rover Laval, and they are second-generation owners, and there will be a third generation of owners because Nino's 2 sons, Vilio and Sergio Di Cubelis, are in the business. And get a load of this. You know how a lot of times you'll find a company and the kids have inherited the company, and there's just a great big fat sense of entitlement and arrogance.
silver
And
spoon.
yeah. That's not the way it works at Jaguar Land Rover Laval. Vilio is a graduate of the John Molson School of Business. Sergio is a graduate of the Automotive Business School of Canada, located at Georgian College in Barrie, Ontario. They went to school to learn the business, and now they're on site learning the business the practical way. And they're not starting at the top. They're working their way up.
And if you're shopping for a car, I learned this from our visit there this week. Talk about the COP. This is a great deal.
Certified pre-owned Jaguars or Land Rovers at Jaguar Land Rover Laval. When they get a car back from a lease, they bring it back up to spec with a multi-point inspection, and then when they sell it to you, they restore the original warranty up to 160,000
That's
kilometers.
a big deal.
It is a big
That
deal.
is a big deal. That's putting your money where your mouth is. That's backing your product.
Good people, good product. JaguarLaval.ca, LandRoverLaval.ca.
I apologize for the choking.
What's going on there?
Well, I'm not sure. It could be a... so it went down the wrong way.
Do you need a cup of tea?
That's what she said.
Sorry, Mom.
It went down the wrong way. Well, as you were saying to me this morning, I seem to be the purveyor of old man noises today.
Honest to God, we're driving here this morning, and out of the blue, Terry goes, "Oh!" And I said, "What happened?" I don't know. It's just a thing with my elbow. It just suddenly hurts.
I moved my elbow, and suddenly there was a shooting pain in my arm.
And he did the old man. Hi!
What the hell?
Are you okay, Granddad?
I don't know. It's just sometimes. I mean, I feel. This is the funny thing about. I just turned 64 in January. I don't think.
Happy belated.
Thank you very much. My vanity, I guess, comes before me. I don't think I look 64. Do I look 64?
No.
And I don't feel 64. Not at all. And I don't think like a 64-year-old. But every once in a while, the body goes, "Hey, pal,
guess
you're
what?
64.
Yeah. Hey!
It did that this morning. I leaned because Ted was driving us around in the Land Rover Discovery, and I leaned on my elbow and in the middle console, and I guess my elbow rolled a certain way, and I was like, anyway.
It reminded us of the scene in Fletch.
Yeah.
The original Fletch with Chevy Chase, where he's gone undercover as an aircraft mechanic, and he's standing beside a Learjet, and he accidentally leans on the engine, which has just been turned, like the thing has just landed, and it's in that freshly in the hangar, so the engine's still hot, and he goes, "Hey!"
That's because guys try to pretend like everything's
Yeah,
okay.
we do, don't we?
You know, we're too busy trying to be macho, I think. And anyway, all of that to say, there's I had the and the choking noise, so that's a lot of fun.
Now tell me this, and I've been meaning to ask you this all week, and this is the first opportunity that I have. Mm-hmm. When did you become a tea-drinking cat lover?
When I got married.
Yeah?
Yeah, when I met Jess. Jess, my wife Jessica, is she loves drinking tea. And because of my old job, I was a coffee guy, guzzling the coffee so that you could function.
Well, yeah, when you get up at 3:30 in the morning.
And I began to, and we've turned into, we're not just tea drinkers, we're tea snobs.
Oh, really?
Oh,
eh?
yes. It's got to be tea from England.
Okay.
And it's
Well, isn't there good tea from elsewhere in the world?
well, there is, but
I would think that Indian tea might be good.
Yes, it is. It's a particular kind of tea, but it's not our cup of tea,
I see.
as they say. We have like a certain kind of decaf. I'm going to get them wrong. I think it's York Gold is our decaf, and there's PG, and there's I forget what the other one is. Anyway, we have a blend of them, and every single night we have a cup of tea, and every single morning we have a cup of tea.
Okay.
And I just got used to it. I find it relaxing and not
what-
as harsh as coffee.
Okay, is the ceremony part of the appeal?
Part of it is,
Yeah.
I think, at night especially, I think it is. And we have an espresso machine in the house, and there's some mornings I think, you know what, I need a little jolt. But
So tea is caffeinated?
Well, yeah.
See, I didn't know that.
And
I don't know.
that's-
I don't know anything
yeah,
about tea.
That's the thing is there's a fallacy that, tea doesn't have any caffeine, but it does. Then there's caffeinated and decaffeinated coffee or tea. And as far as the cat goes, you've seen me with Finnegan.
Yeah, well, he's a dog that's disguised as a cat.
Yeah, when I met Jess and we first got together, I was introduced to Finnegan that she rescued from a shelter years ago, and I said, I'm not much of a cat person, and Finnegan came into the house and was under a bed for 2 days, and then he started to come around, and then he began to charm me, and now I'm a cat person.
That's interesting that he's come around because has the other one come around?
Yeah, she has.
She has, eh?
Yeah,
Okay,
that
because
was
the
all-
last I saw her, she
Yeah.
had not come around.
Well, she was rescued from the backyard. We found her injured in our backyard. And when I say she was rescued, that means Jess tried for 2 weeks to get her to come inside because we could see her tail was bleeding and cut, and there were flies buzzing around it. She was skinny and she was hurt. And
So this was obviously not someone's pet cat, or if it was, it hadn't been home in quite some time.
yeah, and Jess set up an elaborate sort of thing to, sort of lure her in with milk and food, and we took her to the vet. And as we were driving to the vet, I turned to Jess and I said, "I guess we have another cat, eh, sweetie? We weren't gonna get the cat, attended to medically and then leave it somewhere. We weren't going to do that. So, but that cat has learned that we're nice people.
Okay, and how do the cats get along?
Fairly well. They like to have a bit of a tumble.
Okay.
Casey and Finnegan. That's an old reference from
Mr. Dress Up.
Mr. Dress Up. And every once in a while, I don't know if you have cats, you probably know this. They sleep all goddamn day.
Yeah.
They just, they don't do much.
Then they get up and eat, and then they sleep all night.
And there's about an hour of playtime where the cats tear up and down the stairs.
Okay, so they play with each other?
They do.
Now, I wonder if that's a male and female thing, and I'm going to answer my own question because I thought maybe female cats don't like each other. But I had a cat when I first moved to Montreal, and she had been an outdoor cat, and I moved into an apartment. I moved into La Cité. Yes. And I'm on like the 4th floor or whatever. So now she's an indoor cat in a 1-bedroom apartment, and she's not happy.
Oh, okay.
Because she had been an outdoor cat. And I thought, okay, I'm going to get another cat to keep her company.
Yes.
She didn't like that one bit.
Okay.
Yeah, she did not like having another. And I brought that little kitten in, and she was like, oh. And that went on until the day that poor other cat, Chester, God rest his soul, about a year and a half later, we had moved to Westmount.
Yes.
And I was in a house, and so the cats were going out again, and Chester got run over.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's very, very sad.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Like, it's incredible. Incredible's the wrong word, but the way, at least us, the way we become attached to our animals is really, it's something special. And I guess it's just a new chapter for me because I was always, I always thought cats were aloof and.
Well, they are aloof.
Yeah,
but they have their own particular type of charm.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I've fallen for, I guess, because I was a dog person for many, many years.
But it's fascinating that dogs, when dogs see other dogs, it's like, oh my God! It's another one of me! Yeah. We gotta go see where to go. Cat sees another cat, it's like, ugh, for fuck's sakes.
One of the things that cracks me up the most on the internet, it pops up every once in a while, is, hey, what's your name? Tony! Fuck you, Tony! And it's always with dogs.
Oh, barking at each other, and those are like the subtitles?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Poseidon, dog man, cat man?
I'll be right back.
I was more dog. Sorry, more dog, but
Yeah.
My girlfriend has a cat.
She does,
2
eh?
cats, and you know what?
She has 2 cats?
Or
a cat?
A cat, but her parents also have another cat.
Okay.
So, hey, you know what? I like the little fuckers.
Yeah.
No, I just thought of something as you guys were talking about. The older you get, when you settle down, you find yourself enjoying more than one kind of pussy, right?
Right. Did you hear that, Tara?
Your girlfriend, her cats, and yourself.
Yeah. Well, right now, he said as you get older, you discover you like more than one kind of pussy.
Right.
Yeah. Me, all I have right now is a cat.
Yeah.
I've had 3 cats in the last 40 years.
Really?
I got a cat in 1980 who lived to 18. And then I got one in 2001 who lived to 19 or 20.
Uh-huh.
And then I got the current big fat issue that lives with me.
Right.
The cat. The cat. Did I tell you the story about when my last cat died?
No.
What was her name? Belle. And I'm watching. She was old. She was like 19 or 20 years old. She was showing no outward signs of illness or anything, but she was just old and she moved slow. And so I'm watching the hockey game one night, and the game ends, and I turn off the TV and I start to go down the hall to go to bed, and I look at her cage that I use if I have to take her to the vet or whatever, and she's in her cage, and I thought, well, that's unusual. She never goes in her cage. And I leaned down to see what was going on, and even as soon as I leaned down and looked in, I knew she was gone, right? So I felt her, and sure enough, she was and it's 10:30 at night, and Christ, what do? I don't want to go to bed and leave the dead cat in the cage all night. I want to, I got to do something about this. So I looked on the internet, and there's a 24-hour veterinarian place. I forget what it's called. I think there's 3 of them around the city. And there was one in Lachine, and I'm on the West Island. I said, okay. So I called them up, and I said, listen, my cat died. I don't know what to do. And they said, bring her down here, and we'll take care of her. So I take her down there, and I got her wrapped up, and I hand her over, and what would you like to do? We do cremation. I said, okay, that's good. Would you like a paw print? No, just let's just do what we have to do. Okay, sir, can I have your phone number? 514. 591. And I said, I'm sorry. She goes, no, don't worry about it. That happens all the time.
Oh, that's
Isn't that awful?
Yeah, that is awful. That's.
But
Well,
listen,
it's that's when it the finality of it comes down on your shoulders. Eh?
But 20 years is a good 20 years is a good run for a cat, man.
Yeah, it is. But it's the same thing when you talk about people who pass away in their 90s. It is a good run, and you're glad that they had a good life. But it's still sad when they say goodbye.
It's sad, and you can mourn their passing as well as celebrate their life. And please don't tell me they're in a better place.
Yeah.
If you want to believe that, that's great. But I think right here is a pretty good place.
Yeah.
And if it's a loved one, I'd like to have them here still.
Yes,
Thanks.
me too. Yeah, thank you very much. I'm going to take a moment here while we're getting organized for the tweet sheet, which we hadn't done for a couple of episodes because of our very special guests.
Yeah. What was that?
What was that?
Yeah. I think I'm having a stroke. Did you hear about Ted Bird? He had a stroke right in the middle of one of the podcasts.
Don't say that.
No, I won't.
The folks at Merson are getting ready for a new season as we record this. I know we're recording this in the middle of February, but believe me, they're already getting geared up for March, April, and May.
Yeah.
There's a lot of optimists who try and get their snow tires off right away as soon as the deadline is done, and they get busy. So it's important that you get your appointment made early, especially if you store your winter or summer tires with them, which is something you can ask about, by the way. When I was here, I loved that service. No schlepping of tires.
No.
You let them take them on. Or take them off and store them for you and then put them on when you come back in the new season. They look after everything that has anything to do with your car, from oil changes to brake jobs to big jobs to small tweaks. They can look after all of it for you. And it's a family-run business where the owners are in the building every single day. It's a third generation of Mersons, and I venture to guess 4 out of 5 days a week, you will find a second or third generation of families who are customers.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
That have been going there for a very long time.
Yeah. The Mersons are honest, and that's why people keep coming back.
Yep. MersonAuto.com. They are, I think, proud supporters of the Standing By.
They are. I do their
podcast.
social media, and I just looked at social media, and they're proud supporters.
Okay.
Yeah. Take it from me. I wrote it.
All right. Ted has come up with what they call in the radio business a bit, man.
And it's what they call in the comedy business joke theft.
But you do attribute.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's part of the joy of it. And whenever I post these on social media, I do these on my radio show on Light 106.7. And whenever I post the segment on social media, I always tag the people whose tweets I use, and they love it. I always hear back from them. They're always very grateful.
Yeah.
And we're talking about people with tens of thousands of followers.
Yeah,
you know?
but you and I were talking about this in the Land Rover this morning on the way to the studio. We were saying, I don't know what it is, but it still exists, even in a diminished media world. There is something very personal and something very magical about the medium of radio. Television is its own thing. The internet is another thing. But there's something about the radio. I don't know if it's the lack of pictures, if it's the intimacy or what it is, but I used to get into arguments with bosses over the years because I used to love to wish people happy birthday. And I had a number of bosses who said, nobody gives a shit about people's birthdays. And I still get notes from people like Facebook Messenger who say, Terry, just wanted to wish you well and see how you were doing in retirement. You wished me happy birthday in grade 11, and I've never forgotten it. And everywhere I went, I always had pieces of paper, napkins, and I would write down people's names and always say hello to them. And you just had that experience on Light 106.
Yeah, people get a charge out of hearing their name on the radio.
Yeah.
I was at the IGA one day, and a guy came over and actually we were getting our carts, and he goes, "Hey, a celebrity!" And I said, "Where?" And he introduced himself, and I said, so do you listen to the show? He goes, "No, well, I used to listen to you back in the day." And I said, "Well, now I'm here on this radio station." I said, "I'll give you a shout out tomorrow." He said, "Great." And I said, "Do you have kids?" And he said, "Yeah, I have." And damn, I wish I could remember their names. But he had twin boys. And so the next morning, his
wrote
name
it
was
down,
Sean.
right?
Yeah, I wrote it. No, actually, you know what? I didn't write
Wow,
it down.
you remember.
I committed the boys' names to memory, and I forgot his name.
Yeah.
So I took a stab in the dark, and I got it right the next day. His name was Sean. And now I can't remember the boys' names. But anyway, I gave them a shout out the next day and said good morning to them. And he sent me a note, and he said the boys, 11-year-old twin boys, were tickled pink. And he said they went to school and they told all their friends about it, that their names were on the radio. I don't know why, but people get a charge out of hearing their name on the radio.
It's just something that still is special about it. It's one of those things that the people who own the radio stations don't understand.
Well, the people who own it now,
Yeah.
I think the people who did before,
Yeah.
who were actual broadcasters,
Right.
the old owners, they might have got it.
You know, because I remember being a kid and I would listen to, my parents would have the radio on. And I remember, there was a guy named Paul Reed that I've mentioned ad nauseum. He used to host the evening show at CJAD and did the famous Christmas show. And I didn't know it, but I was learning a lot by just listening to him. And I remember saying to my mother, how does he know what I'm doing? I was convinced, he would say something about the nighttime, and as you sit in your living room and relax, and I used to think, how does he know? Is he watching us? Like, that's how intimate it
Creepy old dude.
yeah, that's how intimate it gets, and that's why it has. That's why it makes the people who are doing the tweets excited when you call them out. Yeah.
So I find funny tweets and I read them on my show, but there are some that are too a little too risque for radio. Right. So I save them for here. And I think some of the ones I have here today, some are risque, some are not. But I basically, the risque ones, I only use them if they're also funny. It's not just gratuitous. And then I look at what's going to make Terry laugh, and I think I've found some. Let's have a look, shall we? We good to go, Poseidon?
Yeah. Give me a second.
All righty. Here's one from Frazzle My Gimp. Prison. How do you guys get your nicknames? Murder Mike, murder. Drug Doug, drugs. Fuck the lamppost Larry, murder drugs. Fuck the lamppost Larry.
I just have one question about this.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Only God knows what the fuck he did to that damn lamp to land him prison time. Like, could you imagine the atrocities?
I think Larry was pretty horned up that day.
Murder drugs.
Yeah.
Just a second, gentlemen.
Alrighty.
I know it's a little...
Well, that's okay.
I like this one from At Home Halfway. Okay. Before the ballet Swan Lake was written, there was one called Goose Lake where the ballerinas would angrily chase the audience out of the theater. That's a great visual, eh?
It is a great visual.
He's a good follow. Home Halfway. At home _halfway. Very funny guy. A lot of funny people on the internet. On Twitter.
Mm-hmm. A lot of angry people on the internet,
I like this one. From at Bob Golan. My 3 favorite things are eating my wife and not using punctuation.
How did that only get 600 likes?
I don't know.
That's very, very clever.
My 3 favorite things are eating my wife and not using punctuation.
I know that would appeal to you. It's a part of it is your fascination with language and words. Where does that come from?
I have no idea. I think because I read a lot when I was a kid. My father was a big reader. We had lots of books around the house, so I read a lot. I don't read anymore. Are we going to keep going?
Oh.
Hold on. I haven't shown it yet.
No. You want to come back to it? You want to keep going or come back to it after?
Come back to it.
Okay.
Right. Yes, a lot of books in the house. A lot of books. Yep. And and I used to read we talked about this the other day. I used to read so many books, and now I'm addicted to this goddamn thing.
I know.
To my phone.
You were saying that when we had Maureen Holloway on. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to confess, we were talking about this the other day. I haven't, when you travel, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but when you travel, I guess it depends on where you choose to stay. And I'll be more, I think if we do a season 3, I'll be more particular about where I stay. Because I haven't slept very much.
Really, that bad?
Yeah, Yeah, I don't want to make this a complaint fest, but I was telling you, I think in the first episode about what they've used COVID to cut a lot of things
Excuse
and
to
save
cut
a lot
staff and service.
cut staff and services. And the other thing that I realized is staying where I'm staying near the Trans-Canada Service Road is I'm on a truck route.
Oh, yeah.
And
That's in an industrial park,
Yes,
too.
and the trucks begin to bounce around at around 4:30.
Great.
So when you were telling the long explanation about where your love of words came from, I thought, he's going to stop that story, and I've got nothing. And you'd only know the panic that comes from live radio, which is, oh my God, if he stops talking, I'm not going to have anything to say. And we're going to sit here looking at each other.
Oh, Christ. Yes, I was.
Perhaps we should have been better prepared.
We'll be fine.
Will we?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, my dad was a great influence on me in that way, and I thought of this the other day when we were in here, and I don't know what triggered the memory, and I didn't get a chance to mention it, but I specifically remember. Maybe it was when we had the tweet from the guy who said, well, if it isn't my old nemesis, Werbs. Anyway, I'm reading a book one Sunday morning in bed, and I come across this word, and I don't know the word, and my father's in the next room. Dad, yeah? What's an orange outtang? And that was his reaction. Your reaction right now was his reaction.
Well, we've had so much fun over the years making fun of other people.
Yeah.
Because there've been a number of stories that we may have already told. The other night when we left the studio, it was late for us. 7 o'clock.
It's dark.
And we made a left turn, and I don't know what it is. It probably comes with the time in my life. Every time we make a turn and we end up in a place where I don't know where we are, I always think, oh, this is a place where people get whacked.
Yeah. That's what it looked like.
And that's exactly what it looked like.
And how about coming down Artemis? And you said, you do see that truck. We're in the right-hand lane, and there's a big tractor-trailer cab parked in the right-hand lane, but it's dark.
Yes.
And Terry goes, and I was talking about, I don't see so well. Don't see as well at night as I used to when I'm driving. And he goes, you do see that truck, eh? Well, I do now.
Parked tractor-trailer.
Yeah.
In the right-hand lane that we're quickly approaching. And when you're driving with somebody and you know how people get very offended if there's a lot of people you'll be driving with and you want to say to them, the turn's coming up. I know, I can see it, for Christ's sake. You don't want to offend anybody.
Yeah.
And I could see the tractor trailer coming towards us, and I thought, do I say something? And I thought, yeah, this isn't our car. I better ask.
Yeah.
Do you see that? And that was when I've steered all over the road now. That was triggered when we went into the wrong turn in the dark, and I said, this is a neighborhood you get whacked in. And you said, a schman has been shot to death. And it was a blooper that had to be 1988.
Around there, yeah.
88 or 89.
Yeah, a guy kicking a newscast around the block on local CBC, and Terry and I phoned each other up. We were both watching it at the same time and phoned each other up, and neither one of us said a word. I forget if it was you phoned me or I phoned you. Just laughter.
Do you remember any of your classics?
Well, there's. I think we talked about this last season. Actually, I in particular, I remember Jenny Suave.
Yeah.
There was, instead of Jean Sauvé, there was one. I heard one within the last couple of weeks. So if it had been 5 minutes ago, I might remember it. But 2 weeks, I don't remember it. Poseidon, have you had any big bloopers on the podcast, or is there such a thing as bloopers on the podcast?
What do you mean?
Yeah, I guess not.
Yeah. Well, on radio. Well, I guess you don't do news on a podcast.
I know what it was.
What?
The Lesso. The Lesso of two Weavers.
I heard someone in the radio trying to say the lesser of two evils, and they said, well, it is the lesser of two evers.
Oh, yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, that happens on podcasts.
Yeah.
It happens to me very often on Two Drink Minimum.
Yeah.
When I'm trying to get my point across to Mike and Pantelis, because I know with both of them in there, I'm a little more nervous trying to get my point across because I know they're both waiting to.
Well, and they're so fast and they're so sharp.
Yeah.
Exactly, And
they make you do all the research.
Yeah.
Like if there's something that needs to be Googled, they make you look it up. Have you had instances where you've mispronounced a word and they've had all kinds of fun with that?
I think every second episode at least.
Something like that happens,
yeah. And then they make fun of that, like how'd you say that? Or just I think 2 weeks ago on the morning show, I wanted to say Demolition Man, but I couldn't remember the name of the movie, and I said, "What's that movie there? Mechanical Man, whatever." I was like a very bro-ish,
Yeah.
And then people died in the chat. It was funny,
Well,
Yeah.
Montreal can be a bit of a minefield for that kind of thing if you're not from here.
Yeah.
And you're looking for the Pi IX bridge, or you want to make
that happens all the time,
Yeah.
Poseidon. I mean, I've made that mistake myself when I first moved to Montreal. What's Pi IX?
Yeah, Pi IX, and the other one, which doesn't make any sense, that I've warned people from out of town about. People have asked me, and I'd say, well, it's right at the corner of Guy and St. Catherine, and they'd say, you mean Guy and St. Catherine?
No,
and no, it's Guy and St. Catherine, even in French. Well, I don't know if it's, not every French person would say Guy, but most of the French people I know, Au coin Guy or Au coin Guy, mostly. Yeah. And those are the kinds of things that that could trip you up. Not as bad as, what was it? Orange
out tang.
That's amazing.
Well, that's how it's spelled.
Yeah.
Orange out tang.
Yeah.
Or I used to. You guys are gonna enjoy this. I used to pronounce almond very wrong. I used to pronounce it almond.
Almond. You just drop the L.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's the French version of it, isn't it?
Exactly that too.
That's true. Yeah, almond.
Yeah.
But I was thinking more in terms of salmon.
Yeah.
Right, salmon.
Yeah. Who
So I was
says
thinking in terms
salmon?
of that, and I remember. I think Mike and Pantelis had a field day
No doubt.
with that one.
One of my favorite stories is a friend of mine who got not pulled over, but at one of the gas stations on the 401, he was stopped by a couple who asked if he knew how far Ganonique was.
Ganonique. Well, you know what? That's what I would call it too if I didn't know
if
any
you
better.
didn't know it,
If I didn't know any French, that's what it would look like. It's Ganonique, right?
Ganonique, yeah.
Criminy crickets. How's quitting smoking going, by the way?
Fantastic.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Where are you at?
I would say a month and a week now.
A month and a week,
A month
eh?
and a week, yeah.
What's your secret?
Well, what helped me was I read a book called Alan Carr's Easy Way to Stop Smoking.
Oh, okay.
And he gives you little tricks, stuff to remember, because he takes care of the brainwashing part of it.
Okay.
So he explains the whole business behind nicotine, behind tobacco, because he explains that nicotine, it's not tobacco that's being sold to you. It's nicotine that's being sold to you. It's just wrapped in a cigarette.
Yeah, it's the delivery system.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he gives you a lot of tricks like that, stuff to remember, the reasons why you want to quit. One of my reasons was I felt like I had major confidence issues, and I kind of wanted to feel how I felt before I started smoking. Because I had there were moments where I would remember I was like, fuck, what happened to my confidence? All these years, like, it's getting worse and worse.
Oh,
you understand?
Yeah.
So for me, it was a motivation of the fact that I wanted my confidence back. So I had to remind myself that, some people use the trick of the little monster, like they're crushing a little monster, because in the book he gives you that trick. It's just basically, it explains to you everything. So even though psychologically you get the urge, you read up so much on the topic that logic kind of comes in and blocks that urge. I don't know how to. It's weird because like I'll still like last week I got the urge, I think, on a day, but then I reminded myself, I'm like, hold on, are you really gonna fucking, like, you did a month, like, don't be a fucking idiot. Basically.
Yeah.
Most people I know who smoke say that never really goes away, does it?
I'll tell you what, I haven't smoked in over 20 years, and I haven't had alcohol in about 25 years now, and it doesn't bother me. Like if I were to go out with you for dinner tonight, and you ordered a nice bottle of wine, it wouldn't bother me. Well, I'd drink my Diet Coke and be fine. But if you lit a cigarette and I smelled that freshly lit tobacco, it's not that it would bother me, but it would smell good.
Yeah. Well, did you smoke?
Yeah, well, I was a pack to a pack and a half a day. And players, players filter, which were they called them truckers. Strong cigarettes, and I loved it. Loved it. But if I had kept doing it, I'm pretty convinced I wouldn't be here right now. Like I say, I quit 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It killed my father. At the age of 59. I'm 4 years older than that now. Wow. So, but
it's true what they say, right? I've seen smokers. I remember you having the conversation with you after you quit drinking, and I said, I don't know how to behave in front of somebody who's quit drinking. And you said, you don't have to behave anyway. It's me.
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with you.
It's got nothing to do with me. You order a beer if you want. But I remember you saying it, and other friends of mine saying it, getting up in the morning and saying, "Oh, I used to love the first cigarette in the morning with the coffee."
Yeah, that was a good one. I mean, there are so many in Poseidon. We should, poor Poseidon, he's going to want to have a cigarette if we talk about this for too long. But there were so many triggers. Yeah. Get on the phone, light a smoke. Get behind the wheel of the car, light a smoke.
Right.
Behind the wheel is a big one for me. That one I would say is the most difficult one, especially when I'm doing long distances. Coffee, I got over it quickly. Meals was the fastest one. Now I enjoy my meals a little bit more.
Yeah.
But really, it's behind the wheel. And another trigger for me is when I watch movies and one of the protagonists sparks a cigarette and he's like a badass or something. I'm like, fuck, I want to smoke now.
Yeah. Wow. I don't know if I could have quit smoking if I was still drinking though, because that was a tough.
Yeah, those two things go together.
Yeah.
I never smoked. How about
that? You know what, man? Good for you.
Yeah,
good for you.
It's one of the bad habits I never had.
The best thing you could have done.
Let's take a minute for my friends at Matelas Bonheur, who sell mattresses, and they sell linens and pillows, and they have sleep technology, and you can buy a futon there, and you can order these bed-in-a-box deals online called the Jump Bed. They do everything that has everything to do with a good night's sleep, and that's it. You're not going to have to tiptoe around a washing machine and a couch on the display floor or on the showroom floor in order to find out about what kind of mattress you should be bringing home. You'll be welcomed warmly when you walk into a store. And you'll be asked a couple of questions. They'd like to know if you like to sleep on your side, or you're looking for a firm mattress, or what mattress you're sleeping on now. And it may seem a little intrusive at first, but they're just trying to figure out.
Why don't you just come over and watch me?
Yeah. They're just trying to figure out how they can best help you. And it's one of those nice shopping experiences. And I've said many times before, there's lots of places you can buy a mattress, all kinds of different places you can check out. But before you make your decision to change your mattress, make sure you visit a Matelas Bonheur store. You can visit online, and I'll tell you the website is matelasbonheur.ca. You can find the 18 locations there, but do yourself a favor and go have the in-store shopping experience. It's the kind of experience that's disappearing quickly from the retail world, that they take a great deal of pride in.
That made me think of something that I haven't heard in a long, long time. But back in the day when just about everybody smoked, like when we were kids, most of the grown-ups smoked, right? And I think right up into when I became an adult, I think a lot of people were still smoking. You used to, I don't know if there were actual public service announcements or if it was just sort of a, like a saying, but don't smoke in bed.
Oh, yeah, because you catch fire.
Yeah. When was the last time you heard someone say, don't smoke in bed? I haven't heard that in years.
You'll set the house on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was the days when, those were the days when, as you said, everybody smokes. My wife Jess and I had been looking for something to watch. And in these last couple of months, we figured we'd watched everything we wanted to watch. And I said, have you watched Mad Men? Pardon me. And she had tried, pardon me, and couldn't get into it. And I had tried and I couldn't get into it. And I said, well, why don't we take a run at this thing? And because, I was born in the 60s, my wife loves that era of time, we became hooked on it within a couple of episodes. And it's so authentic to the time period, and everybody smokes. There's hardly a character who's on screen ever without a cigarette in their hand, with wafts of cigarette smoke everywhere. Pregnant women are smoking. They're smoking and drinking in the office. There's smoking in cars. There's smoking in bus, smoking at parties.
Well, you and I can remember those days.
Giant ashtrays, dangling cigarettes over, in the mouth over the stove. And it's portrayed... the era is portrayed accurately. That's the way it was. So there was never a public service announcement to say, don't smoke. To the contrary, there were commercials on television telling you what to smoke. And other
ads with doctors recommend Buckingham's.
And the worst thing, or the thing they were most frightened of, was people who were constantly smoking and smoked as they were becoming tired. And they'd have... This is, like, when you think about it, this is madness. You brush your teeth and get under the covers and fluff your pillow and light up a dart and read a book and fall asleep in the ash fellow.
Yeah.
That's not a good way to go.
I can remember hearing on the news, cause of the fire was careless smoking.
Right.
Yeah. It's either, and then I moved to Montreal, and the cause of the fire was always a grease fire that started in the kitchen.
Des frites. On prend des frites. And that's true. A lot of people would come home at like 2:30 in the morning after the bar.
Yeah.
And figure it's time for fries.
Oh, Christ.
Hey, you got another tweet sheet?
Yeah, I think so. We got a few more. Tweet sheet.
I love the tweet sheets.
Yeah, aren't they good?
We're doing 2 in this episode because we've had, if we do say so ourselves, we've been very lucky with our guests.
We've had some great guests.
Or this season. And
we didn't want to break the momentum to do the tweet sheet.
We didn't want to take a minute away from people like Tommy Schnurmacher and Chris Nyland and Maureen Holloway. So we have 2 tweet sheets for you.
Here's one for you from @tweetpotato314. Therapist, describe this picture. Me, that's my father yelling at me. Therapist. And this one, me, you having sex with my wife. Therapist. And this one, me. Aren't these normally ink blots?
Oh, God.
I like the handle too.
Yeah.
Tweet Potato.
He's one of the funnier ones. Tweet Potato 314. I like him a lot.
Okay.
From @Huntigula. Jesus at the Last Supper breaks bread. This is my body. Pours wine. This is my blood. Opens jar of mayo. Judas, I'm going to stop you right there.
This one's amazing.
We'll all go to hell for that one, but it's pretty funny.
Pardon me.
And from @ArfMeasures, me, the kids haven't eaten their sandwiches. Wife, okay, just throw them out. Later, me helping the kids pack a suitcase. Look, I'm as surprised as you are. I'm going to faint.
Oh, boy.
Not the kids, you idiot. The sandwiches. Oy.
It's such a great way to put it. Look, I'm surprised. Nobody's more surprised than me.
Anyway, good luck. Send us a postcard wherever you end up.
That caught on 90,000 people like that tweet.
Is that right, eh?
Well, you notice those things now, eh? That's the thing about the interweb.
Yeah.
And you and I have been guilty of it, saying, hey, look, we posted this thing and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Well, it's good if you're, if you're doing a podcast and you're trying to get people's attention and you want to take numbers to advertisers, you want to get some engagement on your tweets.
I'm kind of sad because if this was number 8, there's only 2 to go.
No, this is number 9. There's only 1 to go.
Number 9.
Remember? Number 9.
Time flies, eh, boys?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, it really, really does. So we have one more, and we are going to have another guest on our next episode.
Yeah. Hey, there's a segue.
Yes.
Our next guest is he has a military theme, and I received this in the mail this week.
Yes.
This is a mask COVID. Now, by the time this airs, the COVID mask mandates might be gone. I don't know. But I got this from the Royal Montreal Regiment.
Wow.
And you can see their, their insignia there. That's the regiment across the street from your old place where you lived in Westmount.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I received this from, their former commanding officer and now honorary colonel and a good friend of mine, Colin Robinson, who 2 or 3 times a year he'll send me something from the Royal Montreal Regiment, whether it's a small gift or a Christmas greeting. And he always he sends me a card and he prefaces it with, "My darling Ted." Which you don't expect to hear from a lieutenant colonel in the Canadian Military Reserve. No. But Colin's a very nice guy and a very funny guy. I met Colin in Bosnia.
Oh, wow.
When I went over there. You remember when I went there about 20 years ago?
Yeah, I thought you had lost your mind.
It was the war was over.
Yeah, I know. But it was Bosnia.
Yeah. And I was invited to go over as a media observer. I got to wipe my nose because I would laugh so hard at that last tweet.
Okay.
As a media observer.
Yeah.
For the implementation of the peace treaty. The peace treaty, I think, was signed in 1996, and I went over in 2001. And anyway, I met Colin. He was I think he was doing PsyOps.
Wow.
PsyOps, man. He was doing military-civilian liaison, and he was a funny guy, and he did a slide presentation for us, and at one point there was a picture, and Colin is bald. At one point there's a picture of Tito, and he goes, "And this is me when I had hair." And he had done the same presentation for the Governor General, who I think at the time was Adrian Clarkson, and I said, "You didn't use the Tito joke, the bald joke," and he goes, "Oh yeah."
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wonder if she laughed.
I'm sure she did. He's a funny, disarming. Yeah. He's disarmingly funny.
Charming.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Let's say thank you to David Drucker. David Drucker said he's an old friend of ours. We've known David for a long, long time. And he's the head of the UPS Store Canada.
They have over 350 locations across Canada and 5,000 across North America.
And if you've ever driven by one and wondered what it was, a lot of people drive by them and think that's UPS. It isn't. It's the UPS store. And inside there, it's not people packing parcels to put on the truck. It's people helping you with your parcels. And that's what the UPS store does. And boy, do they do it well. You can bring almost anything in there, and they'll find a way to get it where you need it to be. Whether it's something super fragile, something small, something big, something fluffy, whatever it is, something extremely delicate, they'll show you how to get it there. And they come in they really do come in handy. When I was moving from Quebec to British Columbia, and we found things in a cupboard that we had missed, and the trucks were already gone, and my wife Jess said, "What about UPS?" Took it there. They pack it, they tape it, they make sure it gets there on time. They give you a tracking number, the whole thing. Or you can just go in there for office supplies, packing tape, boxes, anything that you may need for a small business, they can help you out. It really is a one-stop shop, and they're all franchise owners who live in your community. You get to know them, especially if you have parcels to send every day or every couple of days. You get to have a really good relationship with those folks. They're really, really good at it. How many, Ted?
350 in Canada, 5,000 across North America. The UPSstore.ca online.
Parting is such sweet sorrow, Ted.
Are we parting now,
I
darling?
think we are. Sweetie.
Well, it is both sweet and sorrowful.
Yes. We'd like to say thank you to Jaguar Land Rover Laval, and also to the UPS Store Canada, and to the Mersons, and to Matelas Bonheur,
And to Poseidon.
and to Poseidon.
Yes, my pleasure,
Who
gentlemen.
came back from the gym. You're not sore yet, are you?
No, not yet.
You're going to have to hit the gym hard, man, if you quit smoking. You're going to
Yeah.
have to hit the gym hard. That's the one downside of quit smoking. The pounds come on pretty easy. So you got to go hard at the gym, and you got to be careful about what you eat, or you'll end up looking like me.
No.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, this is the one thing about living in Montreal.
That you miss
Well, yes.
the food.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's anybody who lives outside of Montreal will tell you. They pick your favorite spots, and I miss this, I miss that, I miss that. It's really,
You'll live longer.
yeah, I will live
Yeah.
longer. Notice the weight hasn't come off, but I'm working on it.
You look good.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Standing by, the Terry and Ted podcast is sponsored by Jaguar Land Rover Laval, where the luxury is unmistakably British. But nobody wears a top hat or a monocle